What's happening, y'all? I am currently in a different parking lot for numerous reasons. So, I wanted to touch on something that I don't think I've ever done. This video is actually, well, we'll get into that later. So, yeah. If you, I guess I'm answering a question, a couple questions from a couple different people. But if you're interested in getting something like this, these don't have a lot of the modern amenities that your typical plastic mobile has. Uh, there is no check engine light. It has gauges that you have to know how to read in order to make this thing function. You have to know how to check oil. You have to know how to check transmission fluid. The old-fashioned way, without a dummy light. There is no ABS brakes, there's no power windows, there's no power door locks, there's no air conditioning, there's no cruise control. None of that. I don't even think I have disc brakes. No, wait a minute. 77? I got disc brakes. But I almost didn't have disc brakes. I mean, there's none of that. There's none of that. A check engine light isn't going to come on and tell you, hey, something's wrong. There's nowhere to plug in a computer to say, hey, your blinker fluid is low or whatever. It doesn't have, there is no oxygen sensors. There is no throttle position sensor. There is no sensors. There is none. It's all engine. In transmission, there is nothing. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, this thing is so simple until it's complicated for people who are used to complicated things. Now, there's nothing to this, really. All you got to do is keep oil in it and keep gas in it, and it'll pretty much run. But people are expecting there to be a check engine light or throttle position sensor or air control module or muffler bearings or God knows what. It doesn't have none of that. And it runs just fine. Oh yeah. Another great thing about these old Dodges, when you hit the gas pedal, it's old school. It doesn't have a serpentine belt. It has one belt going around the alternator, one belt going around the power steering pump and the water pump, and it's got another belt that I don't quite know what it goes to, but it's on there going to nothing. And it doesn't have an air pump, so it's not going to that. I don't know what it goes to. It's just kind of on there on a fake pulley. Don't know what the purpose of it is. I didn't bother to take it off either. But it's got 3 different belts. It's not a serpentine belt. It's not one belt. It's 3 different belts. And when you hit the gas pedal, it makes a screeching sound. Because that's what the old Dodges do. There's a lot of old cars that do that. Because back in the day, they didn't have a serpentine belt. So you get the little noise when you hit the gas pedal. Also, the other funny thing it does when you hit the gas pedal, the lights get brighter. Why does the lights get brighter? Well, because this was before they had the reduced pulley on the bottom of the engine. So it has a relatively big pulley on the bottom of the engine to turn all of this stuff. So when you are sitting at idle, the idle isn't high enough to make the voltage go up. In other words, the alternator is only putting out 12 volt when you are sitting, but when you pull off, the lights go up because the voltage goes up, which is why they tell you to rev the engine up when you're giving another car a jump. Now, here's the catch with that. On the new cars, y'all are constantly putting out 14 volts, 13, 14 volts, sometimes more than that. On the old stuff, you're not. So if your car is new and you're giving somebody a jump, you don't have to rev it up. You're not going to make any more voltage. You're making your max voltage at idle. Versus on the old stuff where you're not making your max voltage at idle and you hit the gas pedal and yeah. Now see, if I leave my foot on the gas, the light stays up. But the minute I let off, the light goes dim. Now you're probably saying to yourself, Brother Tom, a screeching belt is a bad belt. Well, yeah, no. A screeching belt is a sign that you need to change your belts, yes. But when you've already changed your belts, that screeching belt sound is a sign of progress. I know that sounds crazy too, but it's designed to slip a little bit because see what it is, the fan on the water pump, that's another thing I don't have. I don't have a clutch fan. The fan on the water pump is a stationary fan. So when you have an automatic transmission and it goes to shift from 1 to 2, which is normally your hardest shift, it's supposed to slip a little bit so it doesn't break anything. So that's where you get the sound from. At least on the Dodges and on the Oldsmobiles. Chevys shouldn't do that. If you have a Chevy that's doing that, you better believe you need a belt. Or a Ford, depending on what engine you got, you need a belt. But on a Dodge or Oldsmobile, for sure, or Nash, yeah, Nash Rambler, and a Corvair, any of those, yeah, you're good to go. What else? So yeah, that's my rant about that, I guess. There is no gas light to tell you you're about to run out of gas. There is no traction control light because there's no traction control. Yeah, there's no push to start. What the hell is push to start? You can start this damn thing up and drive if you want. Why? Because the key isn't on the collar. The key is in the dashboard. Not only is the key in the dashboard, but you know how you turn the steering wheel to lock the steering wheel? Yeah, when I cut it off and I turn the steering wheel, guess what? It's still doing it. Why is it doing it? Because it's from 1977 and they didn't have a locking column in these yet. Not to mention the play in the steering wheel. Yes, it has play in the steering wheel, probably about quarter turn. Why does it have a quarter turn of play in the steering wheel, you're probably wondering. Oh, it must be such an adventure to drive. Yes, it's an adventure to drive because it's from 1977 and it has a quarter play in the steering wheel because it's from 1977. Now, do I have bad joints? Probably so. Once again, from 1977. Probably a bad tie rod end, but it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. It's designed to have a little bit of play in it. Yeah. This is not a new vehicle. And if you're planning on getting something this old, you're going to have to not be that nitpicky because they're not perfect. They're not perfect. And they're never going to be perfect because they weren't designed to be perfect. They were designed to run and drive and be driven and have somebody with half a brain to do the thinking for it and not have to rely on a check engine light. This was before the check engine light. This was back during a time where you could ride in the back of a pickup truck and cops wouldn't pull you over. And this was during a time where they had lead paint on the school children's playground equipment. I mean, this was during a different time. And yeah, this was back in the day where let it was an option. Okay? Let it and then unlet it was an option. Seatbelts? Shit. I ain't got no seatbelts. I'm lying. I have seatbelts. But they're lap belts. They're not shoulder belts. There is no shoulder belts. None. Not none. Why? Because it's 1977. You didn't need depending on what you were driving. You didn't need shoulder belts in 1977. Airbags? Okay, so funny thing about that. Airbags. Now, this doesn't have, but they did have airbags in 1977. In fact, Oldsmobile Tornado had airbags in 1967 or 68, somewhere in there. I forgot exactly, but it was late 60s, early 70s. They had airbags. Now, with that being said, nobody else had airbags back in the day because you didn't need them jokers. Now, see, nowadays you need them because, see, earlier today, I destroyed a Honda Civic by accident because, well, they was pulling out in front of me and I didn't have no choice but to hit them. But, yeah, I tore the whole bumper off the car. I tore the whole front end off the car. Matter of fact, I'll leave a picture in the thumbnail of what I did. And the van only has a dent. Not even a noticeable dent. You really don't know unless you're looking at it. And I'm probably going to fix it tomorrow, but it's got a dent. And I tore the whole front end off the car. So see, this ain't plastic. So you don't have to worry about those things. I wasn't hurt. The van was still running. I drove it off. Still driving it. They can't go nowhere. But I can. You don't have to worry about those things. When you are driving something from 1977, if you get into an accident, you start it up and you keep on going. You don't call a tow truck. Tow truck for what? Start it up and keep on riding. Y'all people got it all wrong, man. They don't make things like they used to because they make money off of people who don't know any better. So that, well, put it like this. It's kind of like the phrase certified pre-owned, which is the biggest crock of bullshit ever. This van is certified pre-owned. Hell, I was certified all day as pre-owned. I owned it. The last owner owned it. The owner before that owned it. And if you think that you're getting, that it means something for it to be certified pre-owned, you're buying into the crock of bullshit. It don't mean nothing. It means that you're buying something that's certified, owned by somebody before you. And that's how the car game works. And I will talk to y'all later. If you're thinking about getting something that's old, it's not a bad idea, but you're going to have to do some unlearning to learn. And I will talk to y'all later.